All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to another Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast. We got Taylor here, Doug's here in the background. Our live format. This is the first one we've ever done during the Home Run Derby, huh? Who's
Excited?
gonna get better ratings?
That's the debate, right?
Big debate. No, we're gonna run the podcast here. We actually had a fair amount to talk about as always, and this is before my personal home run derby at Cooperstown, New York, with my 12-year-old. As a matter of fact, as soon as I'm done here, I might have to go back out to the baseball fields to pitch BP to my son, because it would be a complete tragedy if he doesn't hit a touchdown or hit a home run in Cooperstown. Right? That's like the thing that all the kids do. And the wife is actually signed up for a mom home run contest.
Really? Is there a dad one?
Yeah, I'm bad. No, I don't think there is a dad one. There'd be too many. There'd be too many things. But I hate to tell my wife, she was the only mom that was willing to try and do it. I hate to burst her bubble. We can practice all you want. She don't have a chance.
She didn't know softball.
Not because she's whatever. Okay. Yeah. She's tall, whatever. She's a reasonable athlete, but you know how many kids going to Cooperstown are going to have a mom that played softball?
Yeah, that's what I was asking you. Does she have that?
I mean, come on.
That's a key part. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling her, yes, go train. Hit one. That'll be fun. Hit one. That's all you need to do.
How many are competing? Is it like an eight-person field, like the home run derby?
I have no idea. It's going to be, I think, a lot more than 8-person field. Okay. Just hit one.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff, the home run derby stuff, it's going on now, really depends on the rules. I mean, let me tell you, it's tiring to hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's almost like the guy with the smoothest swing, not the guy who hits the gargantuan 500-foot home run swinging from his heels. It's because by the time you get the second, third rounds, you're tired.
We'll jump right into this, Doc, because I have a lot on this, and I was going to talk to you about this later. But yeah, I was just talking to Doug and a bunch of people. That's the big thing, Doc, because there's a medium. You can't be too big because you're going to stamina thing, but it's also you can't be too small because you need to consistently hit for power in a couple hours. So it's like you have to be in the middle with the smooth swing. That's key. If you have a pure swing and you're in the middle, like enough power and not enough, body fat, I would say, or just like I'm saying here for this, Doc. Cal Raleigh is favored to win the event, one of the big ones. He has 37 home runs before the All-Star break. He's a catcher. For me, he has tremendous power, probably the most in the whole thing. But stamina, I don't know if he can last, is my big take, I think. People can hate me, but
I would kind of agree with you. I will admit, I haven't studied his swing, right? I mean, but he's a power hitter that, it takes it out of you to take that many swings. And I think the more intriguing wager is after the All-Star, betting on some of these guys who change their swing to elevate to hit home runs.
So I have a stat on that, not the exact, but James Wood, he's been practicing behind the scenes, before games. He's been hitting below 200 in the last couple weeks, and you can kind of track it towards when he started doing these, workouts at home run derby. So there is a proven thing, Doc, that completely changes your swing to a negative more than a positive.
Yeah, I mean, you should be trying to hit home runs, right? What do they always say? Hit down on the ball, cut the ball in half.
You shared a Frank Thomas quote, right? Don't swing for up. Don't hit for up, right? You need to swing at the ball, right? Not
down. They say down. They say down. But yeah, I mean, the home run derby is actually a stamina contest.
Mm-hmm.
More than, because they wipe out your home runs each round, right? They're not cumulative.
It used to be. That's why they've changed it. It used to be something that the bigger guys, like the Manny Ramirez and like Bobby Abreu, they could last. But now they've changed it. So, yes, it does get wiped out and it's not cumulative.
I'm looking at my phone because it's going off because there finally is some sleeper activity in the draft.
Well, we do have ability to share your board on the screen, Doc, if you want to go through your draft.
And the guy at the turn, who was without quarterbacks, has now taken 2 in round 10 and 11.
So, Doc, if you look at my screen, let's walk people through your draft. I'm able to show people now. Here.
All right. We can walk people, and we'll be able to use this to talk
I want
about
to show people before, just so they're a little freaked out by your number of tight ends. This is a tight end premium draft, and Doc, you have 5 of the first top 16 so far.
Yeah, I picked 6 in the middle, which I didn't love, and yes, all that orange is me.
Yes, that's you, right in the middle there. Yeah, with the green dot.
And but before you all think, first of all, I try and draft on time, but people say, well, if you're busy or in surgery, just auto draft. I don't know how you can auto draft. I mean, I don't have the time or energy to rank the next 30 potential players. I mean, and
you can't build a queue for the next 30, 40 people. Yeah, I don't see you doing that. You're by the draft, looking at who drafted right before you.
I mean, I guess you could say I have no fantasy draft philosophy. I'm letting the draft come to me. All right, so before people make fun of me in drafting 5 tight ends, the rules are this year, there's 2 super flex and 9 other players. So 11, no kickers this year. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you could have 9 running backs, 9 wide receivers, or 9 tight ends, or any combination of above. You could have 11 running backs if you wanted, but you can only have a max of 2 quarterbacks and 9 to 11 other players. And why have I ended up with tight ends? I think I've fallen into it. If you look at, I drafted 6. I mean, the guys that were flowing into the 6th spot by ADP, I didn't love. And it's a tight end premium where you get 3.5 points a catch, plus an extra point for a first down, plus the yardage, right?
Yep. Yeah. And the carry. Did you mention the carry? You get 0.5 points per the carry for the running backs.
Yeah, but okay. So you get 0.5 points for a carry. So high volume running backs carrying the ball. And if you look at, to me, there's running backs that catch the ball and run the ball that are a little bit of a premium. That's where I went with Josh Jacobs in the 2nd round. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. If I have a tight end that can get 5 catches a game, 5 catches is a lot of points. It's 17.5 points in catches. It's probably another 3 points in first downs. Mm-hmm. So there's 20.5 points right there. And it has to be another 4 or 5 points in yards, right?
You're getting 50, 60 if you're getting 6 catches normally. Yeah, tight end in the middle of the field. Yeah, I would say. I mean,
so there's a floor of 25 points. And if he catches a touchdown, right, or has even a bigger day, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But there's the board.
Bowers is 32 points projected per game, Doc. So like you said, those are the kind of numbers you're expected if you have an elite tight end like that in this kind of draft.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. So now, at least on our draft, everyone has a quarterback as expected. The guy at the turn got a quarterback. Got exactly. 2 quarterbacks.
Yes.
But I still don't have a wide receiver.
See, that's what you said, though, Doc. You could literally have 9 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks and call it a day, right? That's all. That's all you need in the kind of scoring.
But we'll see what happens. We're just messing around a little bit.
I do want to slide in real quick, Doc. They sent out the accuracy ratings for Fantasy Pros, and last year our pre-draft rankings. If you used our rankings before the season, we were top 50, 47, I believe, and then we were 5th. Top 5 in RB accuracy, and that was buoyed by us being very down on CMC to start the year on top of others. So that's very good for what we're doing this year with our fantasy calculator and using that information to, make lineups, props, and so forth. We talked about that.
I'm excited about the fantasy calculator this year, comparing if you're trying to decide between two guys, we're the only place that not only you take into account injury to the player, but injuries to the offensive line and or the run defense or the offensive line and the pass rush / pass defense, DBs. We take that into account. So hopefully that will help people a lot this year.
All right, jumping into a couple updates, Doc. Speaking of offensive line, a big hit for the Tampa Bay Bucks to start the year. Wirfs was entering this season with a right knee issue. He was spotted with a big bulky brace during minicamp. He had an MCL sprain at the beginning of last year, dealt with it. Sat out OTA's initial minicamp practices as a precaution, according to the coach. After multiple setbacks, he opted to have his surgery, arthroscopic surgery. Wirfs he has now been placed on PUP, Doc, and that's what you alluded to when we first posted this information. Tell me your thoughts on Tristan Wirfs going into the season.
Yeah, we covered Wirfs. Do we want to talk Netflix and quarterbacks, the show, or no?
I don't know. It's up to you. I wasn't fully prepared for that. I want to do a whole big podcast on that. So, there's not enough shows. That's my excuse for not being prepared. You sent me.
All right, we'll cover Tristan Wirfs, and I'll give some quick thoughts on Netflix quarterbacks. I've actually been watching it with my son, and we actually have a lot of. It's an interesting, some interesting takes on it. We'll go through some of those. But Tristan Wirfs, okay. Training camp, as people report, it's hope springs eternal. Everyone's like, well, he looks good. We haven't ruled him out yet. We're hoping he's going to be fine, right? So for Tristan Wirfs to be on PUP, which I get, it's he can be inactivated off PUP at any point in time.
Right. But it's not the season-ending one, right?
Yeah, and is he active PUP or forget the name? Or he can be converted at any time, right?
Yes.
So this is active PUP. But my point is this: I never like injuries that linger from one season to the next. He's done that, and I never like injuries that are late surgeries. He's done that, and anytime people are saying he's just missing this many games, if you already know, if it's a simple knee scope that he had in early July, why are you projecting that he's not ready for the first game of the season in September, 2 months later? If you can project past 2 months for a simple cleanup knee scope, I have to think it's more than a simple cleanup knee scope. I mean, when I was in the NFL, there were many occasions where someone played 2 weeks after a knee scope. Were they at 100%? Maybe not, but that was normal. So if you can't project someone to be ready, or you're already saying they will not be ready 2 months after a knee scope, you have to up the concern. And obviously, he's their big guy on the offensive line. So that'll all be talked about in our season preview, right? The injury version of the Warren Sharp book, so to speak.
It's Pro Football Docs 2025 football injury preview. We'll have it ready for you guys. Yes. Another one that reminds me, just the way we dissect the way people release these, media reports, was the Najee Harris one. We did a lightning pod earlier a couple days ago. I just want to update and let people know they can go to that. But just remember your initial thoughts, superficial, and you saw the way the agent said ready for the season. You're saying, wait, it's July. You have a whole couple months. Why didn't they say training camp? So the big thing what you do is looking at the verbiage of what people say, right?
Well, look, we don't know what the depth of the fireworks injury. And one of the things we say on that lightning pod is just because he went to a local hospital, then went to Stanford Hospital, doesn't necessarily mean he's losing his eye and that he was helicopter flighted from one to the other. It could have just been a specialty follow-up a day later, 2 days later, a week later, whatever it was at Stanford, for further tests. So we're not alarmists whenever we come to this. However, binocular vision is pretty important. What do I mean? I mean, you can do the experiment right now. I mean, if you're trying to touch your finger here and you close one eye, it gets a lot harder to touch that finger if it's moving. In other words, depth perception is because we have two eyes. You can see around things because we have two eyes. And you can do the experiment, cover one eye and then cover the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Things move. This is how you see around the corner. This is how when I look at you in person, I see the contours on your face, etc. And without that depth perception, if both eyes aren't working correctly, I think it's very impossible to catch a pass, or much harder to catch one, much less read pursuit angles and holes and other things where you need instantaneous depth perception. But hopefully both eyes will be fine. I mean, he remains undrafted in my fantasy league right now. And
that's the next question, Doc. Like, you have Marion Hampton already getting drafted before him, the rookie. He has an ADP of 45. He's the running back, 17 taken. But Harris, there's a certain point with this injury now that he's getting maybe devalued, and there might be some value for him as long as he slips, right?
Well, I would say that for everybody. At some point, there's value to an injured guy, unless for some reason you say, look, in the real draft, there's value to an injured guy at some point in time in the draft, assuming he's a good player, right? It's just a matter of when. At some point, there becomes good value for their injury. And like anything in life, I mean, you look at Shedeur Sanders, at some point, he became good value for the Cleveland Browns. Right. And that wasn't an injury situation.
No.
But at some point, he was too good to pass up. Yeah. So I'm not saying Najee Harris is undraftable, but certainly everyone sort of lowered him with the news with what's happening. But the other thing you have to remember is the Chargers started training camp early because they have the Hall of Fame game with Antonio Gates.
Exactly. All right.
Maybe we'll do some live pods from there.
Yes, because yes, you are going to be boots on the ground for Gates. Yes,
but you know, I don't know. We'll see about that. I don't want to stick microphones in people's faces when they're having a good time and enjoying themselves and relaxed and hydrating from the heat in Canton, so to speak.
You never have to worry about, even when we're at Radio Row, it's my job to annoy people and get them in the face to talk to you. Not
I don't want to annoy anybody. I'd rather just chat with them a little bit, hang out a little bit. I've been excited about watching Netflix quarterback, and here are a couple of takeaways that I think that we'll take away from that. One is when Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, there was a quote that he said, "The doctor literally touched my ankle and leg for 1 second, and he said, your Achilles is torn." That's what we've been saying. All these teams that say questionable, MRI pending, to be determined. It is really easy, unfortunately, to tell an Achilles tear. We think it's easy on video, and we've done that a number of times, but it's easy. Clinical exam is very easy. You don't need an MRI. You don't need an ultrasound, but teams always say pending kind of thing. Right. And I think Netflix quarterback was interesting that Kirk Cousins says, yeah, literally he touched it for like 1 second and said, yes, your Achilles is torn. And so I think that was interesting. Another interesting thing on Kirk Cousins is at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of talk about, is his Achilles going to be fine? And we thought his Achilles would be fine. And on Netflix, he clearly says his Achilles is fine. He does later on say his ankle's a little stiff, but his Achilles was certainly fine. And another big take on Kirk Cousins, and we talked about it when we were at the Super Bowl, when Kirk Cousins said he injured himself late in the season. We didn't see it, to be fair, real time, but going back and looking at the video right before half in New Orleans, he clearly injures his elbow and shoulder in his throwing side. And the numbers are staggering. You've got them. Yeah. The TD to interception numbers.
17-7 before. Yeah. 17-7 before and 1-9 after. Sorry, Dr.
17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions before that play afterwards, 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions after that play right before half in New Orleans, week 10. The next week, he was listed on the injury report. We believe he significantly injured his shoulder and elbow. Now, I'm not saying Tommy John, he's out, but hampered. And on Netflix, I don't know that he made a big deal about it, but he clearly said, look, we're always injured. It is what it is. But clearly when you have a shoulder, an elbow, and that's also your push-off foot ankle where the Achilles was, I mean, that's a lot. And you look at the numbers, 17-7 to 1-9. I mean, so
they're telling. Yeah.
People were saying Kirk Cousins is out of juice. I don't think so. I think when we are looking at the video and now Netflix confirms it, the shoulder elbow injury put him in a bad spot. Another thing we said before the season started is I said we were more worried about acclimation to a new system than the Achilles. And on Netflix quarterback, what did he say? Man, I mean, they have all this motion. I had to get all this motion. Yeah. I got to get the guy in motion at the right time and the right cadence. And I just wasn't used to doing that. Right. And that was a bigger problem for him in the early weeks than even the Achilles. So there's a few interesting things that we've seen out of
Joe Burrow too, right? You had a couple things about Joe Burrow and his wrist as well, right?
Obviously, he played very well last year. I mean, I think it only comes to mind now because Burrow makes a point of saying he's still working on his wrist, right? But clearly he threw the ball fine, and we don't see any issues. And he honestly, if you could give MVPs to teams quarterbacks who don't make the playoffs, Joe Burrow would get one, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he had that good of a year.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there was that. And then the other big one is Jared Goff talking about how he was surprised that he was traded and there wasn't a lot of communication. And I remember we talked about that at length. And look, I don't delete tweets. When we're wrong, we're wrong. We had something this week that I didn't delete, and people were texting me, you should delete that. Yeah, we're wrong, but I leave it up there. I'll just explain it. I mean, I'm not in the business of deleting tweets and hiding things. But I remember one where we were wrong, but ended up being right. And when Goff's last year with the Rams, and he talked about this on Netflix Quarterbacks, when he got traded to Detroit, he was grateful that the GM and head coach called him immediately. He felt like he was surprised a little bit. And I'm saying, Jared, you shouldn't have been surprised. Here's why. When he had that thumb issue, IP joint, where he finished the game and then missed a week with the surgery, and I said, he's going to play because they already qualified for the playoffs, so he missed a week. He is the starter of the wild card game. I said, book it. There's no way he's not the starter. His thumb's going to be healthy enough to play. And sure enough, I remember from the war room 90 minutes before kickoff, Jay Glazer says it's not Jared Goff. It's John Wolford is the starter.
Right.
And I was like, man, how did I miss this injury so much? But I remember that following Monday, we doubled down on what we said. And what we said is because the Rams didn't have a third quarterback active for that wild card game, that meant Jared Goff's thumb was healthy. If they weren't sure about Jared Goff's thumb being healthy, they would have activated a third quarterback, figured it out in the roster. No team is going into a game in the regular season with 1.5 quarterbacks.
Right.
One that you're sure is healthy to start the game and one that you're not sure is healthy. Nobody is doing that, much less a playoff game. You're not going into it with 1.5 quarterbacks. Right. So the fact that they did not activate Blake Bortles, I think it was at the time, as the third quarterback, told you that Jared Goff was the backup, but healthy. And sure enough, John Wolford, concussion in the first quarter, neck or concussion, I forget which or both.
Yeah.
Jared Goff came in and won the game playing 3.5 quarters. So my proof that he was healthy isn't that he played 3.5 quarters. The proof that he was healthy was they only activated 2 quarterbacks.
Right. No third.
And we said on that podcast that Monday, now Jared Goff started the next week. We said that either means what? I remember saying and doing this. They either means they love Jared Goff, but they think of John Wolford is here, or they think of John Wolford is here and they think of Jared Goff is here. My point is, if Phillip Rivers didn't practice all week, and that happened plenty in my time, he's still starting. Tom Brady's still starting. Aaron Rodgers is still starting. Jordan Love is still starting. Baker Mayfield is still starting. You name it. Trevor Lawrence this last year with his ankle injury, didn't practice all week, still started. So just because he didn't practice all week, he doesn't get to start in the playoffs?
Did you say Justin Herbert too? Remember Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert wasn't practicing, and still, I mean, if you're the number one, the solid number one, if you don't practice all week, you still get the start. If you're a 1A, 1B, you don't get the start. And to me, and that's what we said live at the time, what does this tell me? That the Rams aren't in love with Jared Goff. Either that or they really love John Wolford.
Which wasn't the case. You already,
And that offseason, boom, here we go. He got traded. So, I mean, you can read the tea leaves a little bit, and the Netflix sort of confirmed, he didn't realize he wasn't loved there. But at some point in time, the Rams no longer loved Jared Goff. That's the trade.
And that was part of our Hiding Behind Health series. We also had a very deep dive on Jimmy Garoppolo and his situation as well.
I remember after that trade happened, we're talking to Lonnie Paxton, New England Patriots investor with us, and saying, what about Jimmy Garoppolo? I think they're hiding behind health of Jimmy Garoppolo and his high ankle sprain all season. And sure enough, Trey Lance became the guy. They went and got Trey Lance. But anyways, I think the Netflix quarterback thing to me is interesting for some of these other things, interesting for some of these other little context clues is all.
I think it's good because they keep the camera rolling, and it's like for me, it's like there's no tent. Remember when you were saying back in the day when you saw injuries, you could see them on the sideline. This one, it's for me, it's like a show with no tent on the medical stuff. Like they're just
and Jared Goff rolled his ankle, right? And I don't know that we made as big of a deal about it as we should have. He still played well.
We posted on, we didn't, to go on,
We posted on it some, but I mean, Jared Goff is even getting into the injury analysis game. He's showing his girlfriend, fiance, or wife, I don't know which it was at the time, but whatever, saying, oh, this is what happened to my ankle, a still shot of his ankle, and she's like, oh, I didn't know that, right? I mean, he's like, no, my ankle was really hurt. Look at this.
I remember there was the Hard Knocks is a good thing too that they used. I remember Max Crosby when he had his wrist issue. There was a shot where they had the door open a little bit, and you could see them like messing with where he was on his arm.
I don't like Hard Knocks as much as some of these quarterback or wide receiver type things.
Right.
Here's why. Hard Knocks, there's a lot more editing because it more has to do with that season. So there's a lot of more protections. Like you can argue the Giants wish there was even more protections related to the Saquon Barkley conversation that they had and then was aired on Hard Knocks. But this Netflix quarterbacks is looking back an entire season where some of those protections are not as important anymore. So yes, it's more delayed, but I think the curtain comes down more. Right. And is it a narrative from Jared Goff's perspective and Joe Burrow's perspective and Kirk Cousins' perspective? No question. But it becomes a more complete narrative from their perspective because it includes a lot more detail. So in some ways, I enjoyed Netflix quarterbacks more than Hard Knocks.
Yeah, there is a lot of editing on Hard Knocks. You're right.
And Hard Knocks, it's about so many people and so many players. The editing can make things look different. And I'm not saying it's purposeful or bad, but this Netflix quarterback, You could argue the editing makes things look different, but is no question Joe Burrow's perspective, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Right. No question is Jared Goff's perspective and Kirk Cousins' perspective. Less editing from that point of view. Like Jared Goff said something about the Rams not telling him or him being surprised. No, you don't get the Rams perspective. Maybe they told him and had discussions, but at least from his perspective. And that's kind of why I enjoyed Netflix quarterbacks a little bit more.
And this is all fans too. I don't think necessarily Davis is a fan of those all three particularly, but he's having fun watching it because it's just like it's a good way of seeing, behind the curtain of what goes on.
Yeah, in all fairness, I mean he likes watching it and he'll watch it with me, but he'd probably rather watch baseball YouTube videos.
There you go. Or home.
That's just in all fairness.
YouTube is a killer, yes. But we're on YouTube now. Even I had Camila run to me a month ago, Doc, and one of your reels came up with one of our stuff. So I'm like, it gets mixed into their stuff, all our YouTube stuff. So.
And then all of a sudden you're like, Dad, you're on YouTube. Oh,
there you go.
You got you have Riz now because you're on YouTube.
There you go.
as the cool kids chat.
Kids, yes. You said no cap in a meeting this morning, so you're getting there, Doc.
Well, my kids, I use some of those terms back on them, and they shake their heads at me. So I try and be a cool kid.
Yeah.
Although my daughter did say something about, oh yeah, my friends are talking about that you're on YouTube. I mean, whatever.
Camila had to prove to someone her friend didn't believe you and me had a podcast, so she had to whip up the podcast on her phone. Okay.
All good.
Doc, I have two players I want to talk about wide receiver wise. They're more long-term outlets. The first one, he doesn't have an ADP right now, and I want to agree if you also think he's not draftable. We're talking about the Houston Texans' Tank Dell. He is entering 2025 with a severe knee injury that you diagnosed and looked at on film when it originally happened. Dislocated kneecap, torn ACL, MCL, LCL.
Multi-ligament knee injury, a smaller, quick player. Yeah, I mean, anything you get out of him this year is gravy. I mean, it's great. I would agree that he's – I mean, at any point, I've already said someone's draftable. I mean, look, could I in Scott Fishbowl, could I see drafting Tank Dell in the 22nd round? Yeah, I can, right? Because by the 22nd round, who you got, right? And if you're saying maybe Tank Dell can service me in week 15 a little bit, maybe, but he easily could miss the season.
Yeah. One more I want to talk about. So he has an ADP of 292, wide receiver 107. This is Christian Watson from the Green Bay Packers. He sustained a torn ACL last week of the season. This was something that may cost him the 2025 season too. He does have one of those boom or bust late season Scott Fish ones. In May, head coach told reporters that the approach to rehab has been impressive, but like you've always said, he's not going to say his approach is not impressive, right? So I know
Coach saying his approach to rehab is not impressive, and he's behind schedule. But Christian Watson is someone I'd take a flyer on before Tank Dell. I mean, he as one of your starting 11, no chance. But late season, think of it this way. It's essentially an early waiver wire pickup.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, for late season, you're stashing them for late season in case. I mean, it depends on who else is there. If you look, Christian Watson by the end of the season might have some output,
And the difference too is Scott Fish in a regular league, like a league your son would be in. You can put him on the IR list or the injured list, so he can stash and sit there and not take a roster spot. Scott Fish, though, you'd have to let him simmer there and wait till he's available. But I mean,
but there's 22 spots. I mean, how deep do we go?
Exactly,
right? Yeah. I mean, do we really dip to number 22? I mean, one year we had to because we had so many.
I remember one of your big ones. It was a still tight end premium. We got Logan Thomas. Remember the Washington Commanders, and that was like one of your last picks. And he was starting for you because you had some injuries like Edelman, T.Y. Hilton. I remember those days. So
yeah, but that usually is no bueno.
Yes, that's not a good thing that we're dealing with.
That's usually not something to celebrate. Oh,
Yeah.
I drafted someone in the 21st round and he started multiple games for me. That
Yeah.
usually means that you had a problem in the.
Mhm.
I think that was the first year that we listened to our friend Adam Azer and said, if you really want to not just be Marty Schottenheimer and win your division, you wanted to go somewhere in the playoffs, you had to draft more boom bust. I was sort of drafting to win the division, like for respectability. Like I'm in the Padres division. I was thrilled that we won 3 divisions in a row, the first 3 Scott Fish Bowls. I wasn't trying to go deep in the Scott Fish Bowl playoffs. I didn't know how I was trying to do, and we did it. But ever since we try and gone deep to go deep in the Scott Fish playoffs, we haven't even won the division because it's been more bust than boom.
Yeah, and it's a good strategy.
5 tight ends, that's the secret.
That's what we're doing right now. No, the boom bust strategy works. We just have to draft correctly, which is a key part behind doing that, right? So it's a work in progress, right? Last thing I just want to mention, Doc, our SIC picks have doing really well. WNBA, Caitlin Clark is back. SIC picks in general, 61% this season, very good. A weekly injury report, we've been doing that. Everybody's been on it, Doc. There's been value on that. MLB is.
You know why the WNBA is so good? We've talked about how basketball is good because 5 starters in the NBA versus 22. So every injury is a 4.5 injuries. It's a cluster.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's naturally good in basketball. But I think why the WNBA info is good is because it's signal to noise. Like there's more NBA coverage, there's less WNBA coverage. So when we can have a take on injuries, it's usually a solo take and it's actionable. Because it's basketball, it's actionable. And because there isn't a lot of coverage, we're often the sole voice out there, etc. I mean, yeah, there's team reporters, but look, Caitlin Clark's the #1 star of the league. We're the only ones saying groin injury is not day to day. It's more like week to week. And of course, she was closer to 2 weeks than day to day to come back. But there wasn't other opinions or people chiming in. So I think that's where, if you're looking for stuff, WNBA is it makes sense that it's at 61% for us instead of the 55% wins of the NFL.
And we do a good job of knowing the backups and stuff too, Doc. Like I've noticed in WNBA, like NBA that goes to like maybe 10 or 12 players, that the bench maybe goes to 7 or 8. So when you get 1 or 2 players out, it becomes a bigger deal, like you said.
And by we mean Sports Injury Central, not David Chow.
Yes.
Backup WNBA roster.
We all have the job to make sure though. So that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doc, just make sure people know the Pro Football Docs 2025 football injury preview is coming. We're getting the last couple teams done. And go to SICScore.com for all the latest insights and all the links.
And keep going to SICScore.com. They'll see the sign up for it. I think we're going to give it away for most people. And if you give the email, you'll get a live updated version, i.e. Najee Harris's I and where is he at. That'll all it'll be a live document that will get updated. And last year was 80 some pages. This year might be 100 some pages.
Yeah. We got 300 plus players. That's all I know. I don't know the pages yet, but we got all the players getting ready for you for all the drafts, including Scott Fish. Anything else, Doc? That's all I had for you today.
No, how are we doing the home run derby? Who's winning? I haven't been watching.
I was focusing so much on my job. I did not get to see. I do not know who is winning right now. Watch Cal Raleigh after we said all that hit $1 billion, right?
Oh, I think Cal Raleigh he's going to get through the first round.
So James Wood hit 16 to start. He's the one that's young. He might have been more slender. I would have maybe not picked him. So good for him to get the 16 to start. He looks like he's the only one. I do want to. There was a question, Doc. A lot of players like the Pete Alonsos and stuff, they seem to be skipping not only the home run derby, but also the All-Star game too, using it as more of like a rest holiday and a rest week. Is that something that is a good thing? A lot of pitchers are doing it too, or is that something just people aren't seeing the festivities as something that is worthwhile anymore?
Well, I think it's a natural transition. If you think about basketball, the slam dunk contest was the thing. And then the veterans said, let the young guys have it, right? And I think there's potentially going to be more and more of that, right? And why get tired? It is a break. I mean, baseball is a long season, and so I could see it as an individual decision, especially if you have a nagging injury that you think maybe you can get better instead of doing the traveling to the All-Star game and doing all the other things. And we talked about this morning. My prediction of I haven't seen the advertisement for the SBs, but the SB is always the day after the All-Star game, baseball All-Star game. Tonight's Home Run Derby, tomorrow's All-Star game.
And that is what the next day is when the SBs is.
Wednesday, it's dark.
Yep.
There's no major sports ever the next day. And that's when they have the ESPYs. It was fun. I went up a couple times. I think we talked about it through the ESPN X Games things and so forth. But I mean, they do it like an Academy Award. When you're on the main floor there are seat fillers. If you're on the main floor and you go up and go to the bathroom, somebody comes in at the commercial break and sits in your seat.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
And I'll give you another clue for your wagering there. If you see SGA and 3 other Oklahoma Thunder players sitting along the aisle,
they're the team of the year.
They're winning.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
If you see people in the front row, they're winning.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been in enough SBs and seen their seat chart. Years when they have 7 Boston Celtics or 6 Kansas City Chiefs all along the aisle. They're not packing them into the middle seats, waiting for them, excuse me, to go collect the award. That's where they are sitting. It is seat assignment on the main floor. Strict seat assignment. I will admit, when I got a seat on the main floor, I was never on the aisle. I was always in the middle.
You're like, I'm not moving. I'm not being asked to move.
Well, yeah. Well, they know you. Like I was a permanent seat filler, right? I mean, you watch where people are sitting. All the award winners come from the edges of the front row, the first couple rows, and along the edges of what's happening there.
I wonder when they close the markets, because the second, you've told me that before. So the second, like you see that is a big wagering opportunity. People bet on the Oscars and all that stuff. So I mean, SBs is there.
Well, yeah, you gotta look. I don't know when the marketplace closes, but you got to remember they also, if I remember correctly, they rolled the show like at 4 p.m. Certainly by 5 p.m. I mean, the pre-show was by 4 p.m. because East Coast window. So it used to be on the West Coast, you'd see it at 7 or 8 p.m., but it's already been broadcast 3 hours ago on the East Coast. So you got to time that out correctly. Maybe you need a scout who sees everyone where they're sitting, and they can text you, and then you can get the info who's going to win the ESPYs before the broadcast hits the air.
All right, Doc. I got a question here on the side. It's just real quick, as it's very off topic. Can pro athletes do PRP to head off injuries? I guess not just to do it while they have it.
PRP is 100% legal in the United States and all sports teams because it's your own blood being spun down and injected back in. So PRP is completely legal for all professional athletes, college athletes in the U.S. The stem cell stuff gets trickier in the U.S. Some stem cells, your own, are legal. Embryologic or someone else's stem cells are not legal most of the time. Stem cells out of a vial are not legal. PRP, assuming it's coming from your own blood being spun down and minimally manipulated, is legal. And yes, it can be done and is being done fairly frequently.
Okay. There you go.
All right. Thanks for watching Home Run Derby. Have at it. I will be next week. We got to figure out a time live from Cooperstown, New York.
On the field.
Well, yeah, we'll be one of the museum, like one of the YouTubers, etc. I'm supposed to see some guy out there. Actually, I thought I was supposed to go to something. We'll see. Rick Sutcliffe, known him for a while. He says he's going to be out there at Cal Ripken's place or something. So there you go. There's an injury thing. The Iron Man streak. We can ask him. No,
I'll just turn your phone on live, Doc. You won't even know.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just joking around. Yeah. If I get invited to a barbecue with Cal Ripken Jr., I'm not asking him to be on a podcast.
You know where you're. Yeah, you know.
I'm not. He's out there. But the bad thing is that Rick Sutcliffe, for example, all these guys, they're out there for their grandsons who are 12.
Wow.
To watch him play. This is my son. I'm an old guy.
I have a funny story about Rick Sutcliffe. I went to a bar in San Jose, and the bathroom was lined with baseball cards. And I was going to the bathroom, and I looked up, and I saw his rookie card, Rick Sutcliffe. So I ripped it off the wall. I took it home with me.
You ripped a baseball card off a bathroom wall.
Obviously no value after I ripped it, but I was just like, oh, that's cool. Let me take that.
Well, the kids play this game sometimes at dinner. It's actually kind of cute. We get them to tell secrets, or my wife gets them to tell secrets. I don't know if this is a game that your kids play. It's called We Listen and We Don't Judge.
Yep. Camila plays that. I've heard that.
Oh, see, that's a yes. I thought my wife. We listen and we don't judge. Yep. I think you're ripping a Rick Sutcliffe baseball card off a bathroom wall should be part of We Listen and We Don't.
Yes,
judge.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Just listen to the story. Don't say your thoughts.
The kids will.
Yeah.
Come up with a few things.
Yeah.
My wife came up with one yesterday. She goes, "We listen and we don't judge." She goes, she said to the kids, "When I was dating your dad, I went through his phone and looked at his text messages." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, listen, we don't judge." I said, "We played this game 20 times, and now you come up with."
She was just checking. That's all. Yeah.
No, she said we were at the beach and she was with a friend, and the friend was talking about the husband's crazy ex or something, and so it reminded her that she was checking for crazy exes on my phone or something.
She's like, "All right, check. There's none. That's good." Yeah.
I don't know about none. Everyone's got whatever. It's all good. But your bathroom baseball card has to be We Listen and We Don't Judge.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for watching and listening. And we will see you next week. And excited to get football season ramped up. Camps are opening up. Things are coming. More news will come as camps open up. And SICscore.com will keep you in the loop. Thanks.
Thank you.